This is Critical Nonsense, our high-lowbrow show about culture, science, and tech. This week, Wild Prognostications, our 2023 year in review, and some nods looking at 2024.
Woo!
So this is the new year. And this is what a Joey sounds like.
A, B, C, D, E, F. This is what an Aaron sounds like. Happy New Year, everybody. We're going simple. We're keeping it real simple.
And this is what an executive producer and metaphorical figure skater, Jess Vander, sounds like.
Hi, this is Jess.
A triple axle in that abstract concept. I did not.
Yes, the toe kick. Protect your toe kick. Yes. Anyway, welcome back, everyone. New year, new us. Joy, I feel like you've got the right New Year energy. I think it's right for you to kick. Bring us. There is a house that we can clear out a little bit of cobwebs to.
Yeah, we are back. We paused. We reflected. We refreshed. 'Tis the new year. 'Tis.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, with every new year, some people are prone to make resolutions. Some people want to make goals, to look to the future. But us here, we're want to nogtosticate, to wogsplossticate,
Yes.
to smog dog to fate.
I like all of this, all of these. Jess, what are we talking about? Help us, inform us.
Welcome to your combo platter, Wild Prognostications 2023 year in review, and Wild Prognostications 2024, where Aaron, Joey, and I take wild guesses on what's to come this year and also see how we did last time.
Yes.
To be fair, and I'll just get this out the way this is designed, you know, that you might come across trend spotting, future casty type content out there in the broader universe, and people have very thoughtful, well-considered, educated guesses of what's to come. But this isn't just prognostications. We aren't here for prognostications 2024. This is wild prognostications. Some of which so wild it should come out of nowhere with maybe very little evidence, just for fun, right? Mm-hmm. And that is the spirit here. Given
this is not tepid takes. That's a different episode.
It's not a tepid takes corner. And you know us. If this wouldn't be critical nonsense if we didn't just bring up stuff that's random. So given that we're doing things a little bit differently, let me set the stage for part 1 of the episode, which will be our year in review. It is important that we think back on 2023 and see how we fared with our last wild guesses. So if you will indulge me, I will take us on a tour.
Hear ye.
A tour of the nogs of yesteryear. The nogs of the years before. We start with dear Joey's nogs. Joey, imagine it's the beginning of 2023. You're envisioning the future, and the first nog that you brought to our table was the turning on influencers. That influencers are the bad news bears, and they got to go. How did it fare?
So I tried to dig into this, and I think a lot of the things that we discussed sort of played out, that there was a moment of anti or de-influencer, maybe not, full blown. I think there are things that we can say that confirm and some things that contradict. The spending on influencer marketing in the past year increased, but the orientation that the general sort of social media user has taken to it did go through sort of a wave of like, no, don't do that. there is a pushback against a number of, the Jakes Paul, the Kylie's Jenner, and other
Kylie's Jenner.
Other folks like that. There was a big push for transparency around branded content. A number of platforms made changes in their policies around branded content and promotion. So YouTube, TikTok, Instagram instituted new policies in the past year around said things. But the money is still flowing into it, although it's flowing into smaller creators and things like that. So it's probably, maybe it was a tepid take. There was, in fact, a sort of cultural pushback against it, and some of the behaviors have changed. But, I don't know whether everyone was fully canceled and we all deleted the apps from our phone. So tough to say.
Have you been influenced in this last year, Joey, in any way? Like, is there something that you purchased? Like, did you fall victim to this in some way this last year?
I mean, not as a statement of I'm not a person capable of being influenced, but I'm not, on.
But not really.
I'm not on Insta or things like that. So I'm not sure that I had the opportunity to encounter influencers to influence me.
I don't know if we've talked about this, but like by contrast, I am aware that I am very easily influenced in the way that there's a word for gullible people, like influenceable people. Like I'm one of those.
So you're a gullible influencealsaurus? Or a member of the Gullilopolis? I tried. I'm sorry.
The word is a mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people like this who are, like understand like fully what's happening and are like, nope, I will buy every new contraption or thing that you put in front of me because they're sweet and they understand through my data exactly the buttons to hit to get me to buy a thing.
Yeah, like I almost think to myself, well targeted. Like you got me good. Yeah, you got me. You got me. Like that makes sense that all makes sense.
I am in fact a woman between the ages of 26 and 34 that is interested in home wares. Living in a small apartment,
yeah, exactly. Or even, I was looking for a pair of holiday earrings that is not expensive, but kind of darling and something that I wouldn't make. And it was like, look at these, $14.99.
There's a box that someone checked.
Things. Yeah, I was
There's
like,
a box someone
checked
checks somewhere that's like, likes darling things. And it's like, check, we found her.
Oh, it's so darling. Oh, well, some of us are Gullilopolis members. Sorry, Aaron. Mm-hmm. I think I botched it.
Welcome.
And perhaps we will see that into the future. You had a second nog, Joey. And it predicted nog number 2 was about a seismic dating shift. Did we see it?
What's funny is I don't think there was a seismic shift, but there has been almost all the things that we collectively, going back and listening through and like looking at all the things we spoke about, all of those things seemed to have progressed. I mean, in sort of a number of things, like the cheap and dry dating have continued and accelerated. There has been
damp.
Or damp dating has accelerated. There's been an uptick in, we talked about like increase in monogamy or relationship orientation potentially based on previous things. I found a data point that there was a 33% uptick on Hinge profiles saying looking for something serious. Like there are a bunch of things, people orienting. There's an app apparently called Thursday that is trying to like just get people to meet in person and get away from the actual app experience. There are features that have been launched to like not have a conversation, just like jump into a blind date. Like, so I think there has been a pretty big push away from maybe like the status quo of where dating was at, but I don't know whether I wouldn't qualify it as a seismic shift. It just seems to be like the things that we were
It's
sort
progressing.
of targeting are like moving, but in 2023, did all of it happen all at once and everyone changed their mind? No, I don't think so.
Yet again, it's hard making such wild prognostications.
Yeah, just getting to like you're onto something is like the outcome.
Yes.
Yeah, with wild comes high expectations.
This is the evergreen issue in now what the 5th or 6th year that we're doing wild prognostications is like change can happen, but most change doesn't happen in a year when we're looking at societal levels. So like we should like revisit like prognostications from 3 years ago that we felt like we're like, oh, you're on to something, to see if like over 3 years did we get there.
Yes, I continually have my Google search like trend watcher on climate change diets, which like
Yes.
absolutely have grown in importance, and like I'm just like it is happening. I stand by it. And if you wait long enough, low-rise jeans will come back again and again and again.
Attack us all. Attack us all.
Yeah.
With their very low rises.
So
and
I
confusing
landed
choices.
in 2 you're on to some things.
Great work, Joey.
Yeah, thanks.
Aaron, we turn our attention to your nogs of 2023. The first of which, nog number 1, were the rise of video game super franchises. I think this was off of the back of The Last of Us, and we started, right? And we started to imagine what more there could be.
Yes, and I would say this is the rise of a not quite. But no, it's
not
perfectly,
gostication.
It's a not gostication. I think that as I look again through the wonderful 2020 hindsight system, I think that this is one that, much like past prognostications, is one that's probably going to take a little while to mature. So what I think we saw was not a rise of video game super franchises like I had thought, but we did start to see emerging gaming like super franchises. And I guess essentially this is the Mattel, the threat of the Mattel cinematic universe that is now knocking at our door. And so, of course, with the success of Barbie, there's been all sorts of green lighting and Hollywood scuttlebutt that has been going about around all sorts of different pieces of content and games. I think my favorite one that's been floating around is about the American Girl collection, and that there will be a film updation, if you will, of American Girl, which, you know, I welcome. In addition, Polly Pocket, that's floating around. Uno, Hot Wheels, like these are all Rock'em Sock'em Robots. All of these are now, yes, at various rumored stages of development. So
didn't they do a Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie essentially with Hugh Jackman?
Essentially, but not. Let's be really clear. They did not get that licensing agreement. And it is a trash movie. That movie is bad. Ooh, it hurts.
I mean, so this is the thing, right? For every 2023 Barbie release, there is also a Super Mario Bros. Movie release that tanks. And I think that's the key, is where you then realize, like, the IP does not alone carry. It just has to be done well, and that's really hard.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would say there are hints of what, right? Like the Super Mario movie is sort of, and like was one of the biggest movies of the year globally that sort of point in that direction. There have been talks that I saw, like greenlighting, I think, of a Fallout show or movie.
Oh, it's coming very soon.
Yeah.
The show on Amazon Prime, it will be here in 2 shakes.
Of a moose's knuckle, or
of either of a Skeletor face without a nose, most likely. Yeah,
got it.
Yeah.
I just feel like I think this is probably also you're on to something,
100%. This one feels like it was too ambitious to say that this could explode in a year. That's not
based
the
on
cycle
production
of development.
timelines.
Yeah, just to add, we had a huge strike situation that slowed down the entire industry for just a major part of the season, and a major arm that would help build this. So I'm gonna rise. I'm gonna say this is gonna be my prognostication for 2025. I'm just gonna put it 5-6. I'm pulling it forward. I'm just saying it's not wrong or right yet. It's just it moves more slowly than I thought. So that's my thoughts on number one. What was what was our second one, Jess?
Oh, checkers! You know it. You had a second nog, and it was about the return of checkers.
Yes. Yes, the expectation that somehow in the wake of Queen's Gambit with chess that we were going to see maybe this swell of intensity around checkers, the homey, cozy cottage core staple. Y'all, I am very confident and secure in my nog ability in that this was just flat out wrong. And that's okay. There are no signs.
It's beautiful because it is both wild in the idea that
yes,
checkers, and it is also so tepid normie, that it's checkers is gonna be the thing,
it's all of a sudden people are gonna wear checker shirts that aren't no I can't even
King me.
Right, I'd love to be able to point to some obscure data point and be like, oh, the rise of gingham in 2023. Nothing at all. It was a flat out didn't happen.
Nothing about checkers.
Nothing. And so that's okay though. That's okay. Board games are still doing great. The board game industry is still doing great. And as we see, maybe it just is there are other games and toys and elements that need to be, taken advantage of. There we go.
It was a year checkered with wild swings and misses.
That is it. That is it. So Jess, you can prognosticate yourself, right?
I think so. That seems fine. I had also 2 nogs. My first was around extreme weather clothing, which I don't know if it's fair to prognosticate myself in the sense that I have then the bias to keep looking for that thing during the whole year. But I will say that there are a couple things going on in fashion that I find interesting. One is that as ugly core permeates, it is there is definitely something in fashion that has also increased this year of functional things being fashionable in its function. And I think that is, I think we'd sort of compared that to fast fashion being intentionally aesthetic forward. Mm-hmm. This function forward construct is really interesting. And one of the best examples of how I saw it happen this year in terms of extreme weather is that puffer became every article of clothing. Puffer jackets became puffer pants, became puffer onesies, became puffer shoes. You haven't seen a puffer onesie?
Wow.
A puffer onesie? I'll send you the one I found on Eddie Bauer. It's bright orange. It's just like a complete inflatable.
I can't tell if I hate it or I love it. I need to see it to determine.
You have to see it. You have to see it to believe it.
Puffer onesies. It feels like something I would wear ironically on my college friend annual trip.
Oh no.
Oh my Lord.
Oh, did you see it? There it is. So basically it looks like a puffer jacket. And then it keeps going. The hood is puffer. The pants
only $1,100?
Just only
it's on
sale.
It's on sale from $1,500.
Man.
But you'll see these all over. And I'd like to think that sort of I think it's definitely seeming to start more in the cold weather space. I'm very curious to keep eyes out for rain and like waterproofing specific items coming. Oh yeah,
Was this the conversation that we talked about pants?
pants.
This
Yes, it
was.
was.
Yes.
It
I
was
got
the
a pair
discussion
of
about-
pants for
You
Christmas.
Love it.
So
Anecdotal
basically, I absolutely
evidence.
crushed it.
Yes.
Thank you so much for
yes.
affirming me. What is can you describe them for us?
They are from REI, and they are pants that go over my pants for when it's raining and I'm riding my bike.
You just
God,
need
I
pants
love
pants.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw some pants in Alaska this summer. So Jess, I would say like full year, right? We saw this in June, July, all the way through December. That was pretty good. Those are some strong signals for some
Wow, I'm
pant
feeling-
function clothing.
I feel
feeling
like
great about
technical
that.
fiber also has increased. There's been a lot of talk around Lululemon underwear and their technical fiberness that in the way that we saw the explosion in sweat wicking underwear for men, it seems to be that women are getting some of the sweat wicking materials for their fundies also. And that is a product of increased heat in the summer. You know, you just got to stay dry.
It's true. You
Yes.
do. You know, I acknowledge that some of that is just also the slow burn, no pun intended, of the last like 10 years of fashion evolution to suit our like fashion technologies to better work with our bodies. But I'll take it. Look, I'll take it. I'll also especially take it as it pertains to my second nog, which was honestly, upon further review, also kind of a tepid, not as wild it was just like a barely wild nog that chickens would be the new unicorn. And my note to self was straight up no. Not just not but I did say what I did find is that there was a much more pragmatic shift for the chicken. You'll see that much more people were interested to know if, like a dog or a cat, they could also feed their chickens scraps from the table. Like there were more transferable home pet interests crossing over to chickens. And I'll happily report I identified a new D2C chicken brand called, you guessed it, Omelet.
Stop.
And
it.
they have all of this like incredible gear made specifically for maintaining your chickens.
I will say
extraordinary.
chickens actually had a pretty tough year. Like a lot of millions of them were killed in an avian flu outbreak.
Oof.
Bad news. People weren't fans of chickens because of the inflationary window and the cost of eggs went up. I mean, just from a PR perspective, tough year for chickens. 2023 was not the year of the chicken.
Yeah, actually,
to that end. Oh no, well, I have neighbors. I've got 2 neighbors that have chickens. And halfway through the year, one of them decided to, I don't know how they made this change and how that worked, but they went from chickens to ducks. And so now they've got ducks and no more chickens on that end of the street. So, tough year for chickens.
How does one go about that decision?
Yeah. I mean, there are more like West Coast hipstery conversations to be had, I know, but still I'm proud of the fact that that's really up there. Oh, we just switched from chickens to ducks. Nice to meet you, neighbor.
I've never had a duck egg. Maybe is it better eats?
I have
big.
chosen not to engage.
we
we take out our trash.
mallards?
Oh yeah, it's take out the trash, wave, and then run
Small.
away because I don't ever
Slice,
want to
slice.
really learn more about their duck life. That
Now
duck
I'm
life.
like, what's their
False.
backyard
Duck
like
eggs.
architecture like?
Duck eggs tend to be 50 to 100% larger than chicken eggs. I was right.
It's a big duck or a big egg.
There's a big egg.
I mean,
it's a
there's
big
also
duck
a big
too.
duck. Yeah,
Full of antioxidants. Oh, if I can
Indeed.
only add one more thing that is deeply barely related. But in my search in this, I specifically was interested in following chickens being turned into toys and like being made in cute. And I did not find that. But I did surface a thing that I have noticed over the last few years and I cannot explain. It is a tendy adjacent observation that in the same way that we started calling chicken tenders tendies, since when did we start calling stuffed animals stuffies?
I grew up with stuffies. I grew up. That was what they were called.
What? I'm happy that I'm learning something new right now.
Isn't that
You went from disgust to like, oh, I guess if that's what you call them, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
like
basically.
the roll of like, yeah.
I want, if any listeners have strong feelings about this, like, is stuffies new, or is that just a thing that, or is it something that had been well
Maybe
established
regional?
somewhere that's expanding? Yeah, it's just
I mean, if the
fascinating.
tendies were
concept to me.
invented in Manchester, New Hampshire, maybe stuffies
in your
were
hometown.
as well.
I also have to add, like, at least for, again, my own meandering experience, I have very weird parents that wouldn't let me like use shorthand words for anything. So like they had to be stuffed animal. Like I could not, they wouldn't let me say stuffy. So I'm not a good arbiter of whether or not it existed in the past. I just know that I must say complicated words. That's a necessity.
I will say I would still, I don't know how I feel about stuffies. I feel pretty neutral about the word because I grew up having them called stuffies, but I would rather stuffies over the sort of other term that I hear sometimes is lovies.
No.
Don't like that.
Nope. Opens up doors that I will close right now. Look at that. Poof. Door closed. Don't like it. Don't like it at all.
Aaron just closed the door on 2023.
Done.
Yep. It's done.
Which brings us to 2024.
Thus, we're here. We've made it. It's time to toss around some nogs that are as wild as possible.
Caught that nog.
Our goal, I think, in this time is not to strictly hold ourselves to 2 nogs per person. Instead, I suggest that we brainstorm what nogs we can together with what seedlings of ideas. Because in prior times, we put all of our eggs in one basket and they all catch avian flu. But what if we try to brainstorm together? Maybe we'll have better odds. So with that, may I share my inaugural potential nog seedling?
Yeah, noglings. Share your noglings with us.
So you recall we had a whole discussion around the rising tide and shift of cake, where we talked about new cake trends. And I have been tracking those for quite a while. So you can tell me that this is not wild enough. But I do wonder if in the mainstream, in households, people are going to be making Jell-O things this year.
The Jell-O things. Interesting.
Like, is Jell-O about to have a really good year?
You know, why not? I'm going to put this right next to checkers and chickens. So why not? Sure. That's wild. Jell-O, the mold dessert. Yeah, why not?
Particularly off of the back of non-alcoholic obsessions, Jell-O turned into interesting non-alcoholic botanical taste experience. Like I just think that there could be more to be seen there.
I like the idea of people coming back to like the 1950s sort of like decorative complex molds. I can kind of like, I can imagine a world wherein we find like somehow there was like a weird TikTok trend this year where everyone was like doing brinksmanship with Jell-O molds. Like, is it cake? It is Jell-O.
Yeah. Yeah, well, exactly. And not in like the gross way that some of the 1950s and 60s Jello experiments were, where it's
You
like,
don't like
what about
raisins and
meat
carrot
Jell-O?
shavings?
Oh, and the meat Jello. Yeah, no.
It's like why did we do that? But I'm inspired by companies like Solid Wiggles, who have these like extremely elaborate Jello creations, concoctions that have these like beautiful artistic designs in them. And
Are
it
they
makes me
using
think,
like their own? Is Solid Wiggles a Jello or a flavored gelatin mold
Yes.
company?
Yeah,
That
and
they're making their
be
own
clear.
flavors versus
Yeah,
like just
exactly.
making cool shit with Jello boxes.
Yeah, like let's be clear. I'm not putting all of my eggs in the Jello company basket. I'm talking more about like the
Jell-O.
gelatin dessert, the gelatin dessert category. Because I think people are going to be inspired. I think people are going to want to try it themselves.
I'm here for this.
I love it. I just have a lot of like random thoughts.
Great.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna, all right. So I'm gonna word vomit a few things on you. Please get your bags together and umbrellas. So first of all, if I had to I know, I'm sorry. If I had a prognog, I would steal it from Glenn Weldon over at NPR's Pop Culture Happy Hour, who, and I'm summarizing here, essentially said that in culture, we're going to see potentially this year an AI generated novel or script PR kerfuffle where the public finds out that this piece of work that everybody loved was generated by AI. And there's going to be a whole thing. And it's going to be like, oh my God, what? Is it? And it won't be like an AI thing. It'll just be more so like the goop, the gag, the gander of oh, what does it mean? And it'll become like a pop cultural moment and less so this heady, news hour sort of thing. So that I will summarize that as potentially a real prognog. The rest of my stuff is just interest rates will stagnate or go down. There'll be some sort of a giant media merger or divestiture of some sort at some point. There'll be a shitty election issue that'll happen and maybe the end of democracy. Who knows? There'll be a backlash against EVs, I think. I don't know what that really looks like. I don't know if that just means it's going to dent it, stunt it. But that's my egg basket of noglets. Noglings.
Eggnog.
Eggnog. Yeah. Oh, Jess. Oh.
Or eggnogs.
I'm here for it. That is a basket of eggnogs. Yes. Oh, yeah. I am not mad at this at all. Yes. Okay, those are my eggnogs. Thank you for coining that. I don't know.
I like either a massive media conglomeration or divestiture.
Yeah.
That was my favorite.
It's basically something's going to happen. So I know I'm going to be right. I'm going to get one
right.
It's
a hedged eggnog.
All right. Okay. All right.
On that one, geez. I would put my eggs in the nog basket of conglomeration. I think we're at the point where the classic of everything is always either bundling or unbundling. I think we're in a bundling moment. The cable companies are having a difficult moment, but also the streamers are so fractured that whether it's everyone goes back to the cable bundle in a different incarnation, or Netflix goes through acquisition wave and builds something, or Apple does, or whoever. I'm sort of more inclined towards that agglomeration bit. I would put my nogs in that basket.
I think that's a nice
noggy.
One. I buy it. I buy those eggs.
Yay.
Wild?
That's $12.
That I need 6 eggs. And that's too expensive.
Also, eggs bad year. Turned out all the egg producers were engaged in price fixing.
Okay, now I acknowledge that, but I also want to just note for all the listeners who chuckled at my Beauty and the Beast reference, I heard it. It's okay. Okay, like yeah, no, I agree. Okay, cool.
I didn't hear it.
No, I know, but there were people that heard it.
He's
Somebody
like,
heard
"That's
it and
why I
was
said it, so
like,
you people."
somebody heard it out there and was like, they're not gonna say anything. Like, so no, but like that was intentional. I got you.
It
I see you.
happened. You're there. You're there for our listeners.
I am. Turn left, get off at the next subway stop. Whatever you need to do, continue your commute. Yes.
Here, as we know, we always nog in our different styles. Where I what is it? Joey has actual thoughtful things. I will things into existence that I want, and Aaron shares things that he's afraid of.
Yes.
2 things I would like to will into existence in 2023, other than Jell-O, are I'm ready, and so therefore we collectively should be ready for algae. It's time. We've waited. We've been sitting on it. I'm ready for algae to be mainstream, and I say this in like the variant forms of kelp adjacent material. I think it can come in many forms. I think certainly in food, but also in nutrition, in fashion, in
Energy,
material
in
science,
carbon
in
capture.
energy. Exactly. I am ready for algae, and the world better get ready for my nog. That's so actually get yourself together. And secondly, something else that I was inspired by a New York Times style article that was elevating a brand that is based in the UK selling wide, comfortable shoes to celebrities. And someone in the either in the article or in the comments, someone made the point of like, whoever figures out how to make beautiful, comfortable, wide width shoes will make an absolute killing if they can crack it, because for some reason it is just one of the things that has never really proliferated in some big meaningful way. In fits and starts here, companies claiming to do it, and I'm ready for nice wide shoes. So 23, make it rain on my waterproof shoes.
Let's go.
Whatever.
Yes. Yes.
Gelatin
Welcomed.
desserts, or not just desserts, gelatinous confections, algae,
Mhm.
and wide shoes. Got it.
That's exactly right.
Got it.
I think.
Do you
this
have
is a
anything
nice-
else?
Yeah. Do you? Yeah.
What?
Do we have any more?
I didn't go.
Oh, we were doing. Oh, I thought we were doing them all
I thought you
together.
bundled. I thought we're
Yeah,
throwing them out there.
Oh, well, I just didn't
Joey.
throw mine out. I was.
Oh.
We're ready. We're ready. Come.
All right.
Yeah.
2 things. I will go quick. One, I think some form of AI hardware is going to catch this year. I think like catch can be a reasonable number of sales. I would consider, let's call it 200,000 units, a reasonable number of units sold of some form. Whether that becomes Meta's, Ray-Bans, if that happens. I had this going, seeing a lot of things, seeing Apple is investing a considerable amount of money in AI. Suddenly they've committed to over $1 billion a year. There's sort of a crash last week, declining like 3% of Apple's stock because of iPhone sales are declining. People are sort of pushing away from phones. There was a launch of a launch video today by a company called Rabbit of like a hardware AI assistant effectively that just goes through your phone and will press all the buttons for you if you want it to.
Ooh.
So I think this year we will see there's been like a big push towards hardware, and I think we'll see some sort of AI assistant hardware thing take this year. That is
Cool. Well,
deux. Energy optimism. The past, I don't know how long we could say maybe 15 years has sort of been fueled by broadly speaking, like a sort of gloomy cloud around, climate change and carbon fuels and things like that. We're sort of past a point, like all of that gloom and pressure and investment and things that we've all done is sort of reaching a point where, like, in some states in the US, like over 40% of energy is coming from renewable sources. Like we're sort of passing this massive wind farm just opened up off the coast of Massachusetts. There's like major breakthroughs this year that are piloting around geothermal. There's been a bunch of new things coming out of some of the congressional acts that were passed last year around green hydrogen. Like micronuclear is being pursued by companies like Microsoft. And then the superconductor stuff that's been happening this year that we all thought maybe was going away is actually like coming back. Like, to use the terms of the people who are following it closely, we're so back. So I think, energy optimism, it may be time. Like it may be time for a swing where we don't have to like stare at the gloom cloud as much.
Whoa. Compelling. Did you have 3?
No, those were the sort of
Those were
AI hardware / anti-phone, not like anti-phone, just like a pushing away from the phone as maybe the central device. And then the energy optimism around like, wait, we're kind of doing it. So.
Wow. I like this. And also our listeners can appreciate that you are absolutely the most together and most nog considerate of the group of us. So we've got a really lovely mix in our eggnog basket. I think if I had to recapital and wrap it all in a bundle of, if I had to wrap it, I would say Jello, algae, wide shoes, AI hardware, energy optimism. Is bundling something separate? Is an AI generated novel something separate? Is hedging against things that can happen, or the opposite of that thing, its own nog in some kind of way? I think it is, because we must always make space for that which we do not know. And that feels like a perfect sentiment to set us off on this wild and who knows what we can prognosticate 2024.
New year, new us. Wood dragon, here we come.
I don't know what that is.
Wood dragon, it's the Chinese zodiac year will be the wood dragon.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
Check
not
your
until like
zodiac
February
books.
12th, I guess. We're still in a rabbit currently, but here comes the wood
soon.
dragon.
Here comes the dragon. Watch out, folks.
Critical Nonsense is a Sylvain production.
Brought to you by Eggnog, a beverage with eggs for drinking seasonally.
As always, we'd like to thank executive producer and Julia Childs, Jess Vander.
Julia Child?
Yeah, Child. I was just thinking of someone who cooked things in the 50s that might have cooked with gelatinous confections.
Confections.
Yep.
You know who else may have? Our sound engineer, and he himself would gelatinous confection. That sounds like an insult when I say it like that. Alex, come tell him so sorry.
We'd like to thank our programming coordinator and LESSO, Wes Jacobs.
We also like to thank our production crew and the eggs in our basket. Sorry, Gilbert
Jigglers?
and Nora Mesterich. Yikes. I don't know. It's hard. It's the end of the day.
As always, thanks, Elen.
Thanks, Helen.
Special thanks to New Year's resolutions, maybe, for those of you who observe.
If you observe.
I don't. But it
Yeah,
feels
but
like,
you know.
maybe it's not the worst thing as long as you're nice to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. New year, new you if you want. Maybe.
Yeah, but maybe the old you was like doing great. So like maybe
Yeah,
like
special
New Year,
thanks
same
to-
you.
Special thanks to being non-committal.
New Year, same me. I was doing great. Like who are you talking about?
New year, actually, I'm amazing. I did such a good job. Yes. Special thanks to rice. Have we thanked rice yet?
No.
Ever? Because it's about time.
There was a chef's table like equivalent of Korea that was on Netflix that I saw Becky watching one day. And so I sort of just sat alongside like maybe eating something or doing whatever. And it was so funny. They just kept talking like so often. Like they were, like doing sam or like all these different like sort of Korean dishes. But then they would always come back like, they make the best rice here. They just kept like going back to this idea.
Highest
and, like,
praise.
getting to the point of like being able to distinguish between the quality of something that the preparation is so simple, so you have to do it so
Yep.
well. Like I gotta respect the game.
It's rice, it's dashi, it's eggs. There's always that sort of like fundamental thing that you can judge true quality by, and you gotta respect that. Simplicity.
You gotta do it. Well,
Well,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Let's do it. I would like to give a preemptive thanks to Suck Up to 2024. So then it treats me well. So thanks 2024. Like
2024, thank you so much.
you're so smart
generous.
and kind and wow. 2024, you're so good. Like I
you
know
mean
don't
it.
tell 2023 I said this, but 2024 you are so much better.
Well, we don't
Right.
want to put anyone
Bye.
down, but okay, bye.